Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tie my Beetle. And in the vise I've got a TMC 5262, which is a 2x long, 2x heavy hook. And I simply use this hook because a heavier fish, heavier wire. If you wanted to use a lighter hook for this fly, TMC 5212 will do just fine as well. I'm going to go ahead and start with the thread base. I'm going to wrap back to just around the bend. I'm going to come back. We're going to stop that thread about 2 eye lengths there behind the hook eye. Alright, our first material is loco foam, and this stuff comes with that real nice shiny iridescent side, and on the other side you got a dull side. We're going to use that shiny side to our advantage on this fly. We're going to mount that foam directly on top of the hook shank, and we're going to leave a little bit of room behind the hook eye there. Alright. Okay. Once I get that mounted on top, I'm just going to go ahead and rotate that foam so it's facing straight down, directly on top of the hook shank, and we're going to go ahead and start to build our body segments. Alright. To do that, I'm going to pull up the foam. I'm going to take the thread, I'm going to wrap back 2 or 3 wraps. I'm going to pull the foam straight down and create our first body segment. Okay. Usually give about 3 or 4 wraps to secure that. Alright, now we're just going to repeat that process 3 more times. I like to get about 4 body segments per fly, and once you tie a few of these, you'll get to know what size you need to make them so that they all come out nice and equal by the time you get to the back of the fly. Okay. Just repeating that first step with the segments. And got room for one more here. Alright, well, we're going to make a couple wraps of thread back there, because now we're just going to whip finish the fly, and I don't want to build up a lot of thread. Okay, now we can go ahead and clip the thread. Alright, make sure all our foam's still sitting straight on top. And we're going to start our thread directly behind the hook eye again. Okay. I'm going to put that thread directly behind the hook eye. I'm going to take this foam and I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to take my bobbin here and when I raise it up in the air, I'm going to angle this because I want that foam to be mounted or tied down directly behind the hook eye. So I'm going to angle my thread. I'm going to come in, kind of hover that foam, and I like to capture the bottom of that hook eye right there with my thread and then give it a good little tug. Now be careful here, you don't tug too hard because you will slice right through that foam with your thread. And then just a few secured wraps. And I'm just going to trim this foam up front just to get it out of the way. Okay. At this point, we can go ahead and whip finish again. And trim our thread. Alright. And what we've created so far, let me turn the vise here and just show you, but all we've done is we've just created those body segments and folded over our foam, and you can see how effective that is. Okay, let's go ahead and finish the fly. I'm going to go ahead and take my thread and I'm going to start it right in front of that first body segment. I'm just going to cinch it down, a few wraps, and trim our excess. Alright. Our next material is going to be for our legs, and it's going to be Sexy Floss. And this stuff comes with that nice natural little curve on it, and we're going to use that to our advantage. I'm going to go ahead and take and mount that leg with that curve facing me. And I'm not too concerned about mounting it on the side. I like to mount my legs on top, and then I'll pull them to the side. I'm going to quickly mount this one here on this side, and I'll get this other one here on the other side so that you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. So I'll mount it on top. I'm going to take it, I'm going to rotate it to the side there. I just like to kind of get it right on the edge of that foam. And I'm not going to trim my legs to exact length right now. I'm just trying to get them to look identical. Okay, okay, I like that. All right. This is a very simple pattern, and our last material here is going to go ahead and be our CDC wing. Okay. And I like to use a puff for this. You can use a regular feather as well. I like the puff just because of the bulk in the feather, and it's just very easy to work with. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take, and I'm not going to measure yet, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of stroke the fibers back. I'm going to put the winging material right on top of the fly. All right. I'm just going to take and come up with the pinch wrap and secure that puff in. Couple wraps. Then I'll go ahead and kind of see what we're looking for as far as measurement. And I like my CDC just to be, slightly longer the end of the foam. I'm going to pull that down just a tiny bit shorter. Right? I like that. Let's go ahead and secure that one more time. And then we can trim the stem out from the fly. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish the fly. I'm going to go ahead and stroke these fibers back a little bit more, just so that none of them will get trapped underneath the fly here when I go ahead and pull back the foam to finish. I'm just going to go ahead and hold this CDC feather back. I'm going to push this foam up to my other fingertips. I'm going to go ahead and hold that foam there. All right. Now we just have to come up just in between the legs, get 2 or 3 wraps, and we'll go ahead and whip finish the fly. Okay. And then we can go ahead and just trim our foam on top, and I just like to trim it down to a little tag. That. Stand up our wing. Go ahead and make sure our legs still look good, like that. Alright. And I'll just go ahead and trim my legs. And the way I like to trim these, and it's up to you, I like to leave them a little bit long. I can always trim them on stream. Go ahead and push the 2 legs forward, and I'll trim them at the same time. Here, a little shorter. Definitely make sure you don't trim your legs too short right away. You can't get them back. And just go ahead and eyeball the back legs till I like them. Okay, I like that. Alright. To finish this pattern, go ahead and rotate the fly up. Turn it, kind of give you guys a 360 of what we've got going on. 3 materials, very buggy, very easy. Okay. And to finish the fly, I'm just going to use a little bit of thin UV resin, not much, just enough to coat our thread wraps and protect the shine on the bottom. So what I like to do is I like to come in, just put a little bit of our thread wraps right behind the eye, and then I'm just going to come down and just rub those body segments. Make sure that thread's really protected in between each one. And then once you're done with that, you can just take your bodkin and just barely graze over top of the body there, and that's going to put a thin coat of UV over everything. Alright, we're going to go ahead and set the resin. There's finished fly. Tim's Beetle.